Well, we're joined by Egemen a senior member of Turkey's ruling AK party and a former EU Affairs Minister. Mr. Bagis, thank you very much for joining us here on the programme. Are you concerned about this rift between the two countries widening?
Well, as your correspondent said, it's election time in Netherlands. Nationalism is on the rise, and Prime Minister Rutte is quite scared that Mr. Wilders might be more popular than he is, and they're acting in a silly manner. Once their election is over, we are hoping that they will have some common sense and courtesy to realize what they did was wrong. Asking a foreign minister not to come to their country, then threatening to cancel his flight authorization, then taking hostage the Minister of Family and Social Services in a car and not allowing her car to go another 30 meters to the diplomatic property of the Turkish consulate, where Turkish law is in effect, was not correct. And they have to somehow realize that they made a mistake. What they did was undiplomatic, unreasonable, unlogical, illogical, and had no sense. But we realize they are doing this to exploit votes from their nationalist party. And hopefully, once the election is over, they will realize that they made a huge mistake by mistreating an ally country.
From the Netherlands' point of view, some of the statements that President Erdogan has made, accusing the Dutch government of acting like Nazi fascists, they would say that's not correct.
Well, what President Erdogan said was a reaction to the undiplomatic actions of Netherlands. And he didn't call them Nazis. He said they resemble some of the actions of the Nazis. Nazis were afraid of the Jews, and the Dutch government acted as if they were afraid of the Turks. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Of course he didn't call them Nazis.
What action will you now take against the Netherlands?
Excuse me?
What actions will you now take against the Netherlands?
Well, first we'll wait for them to apologize. We have asked their ambassador, who left the country by coincidence 24 hours ahead of time, not to come back, because he will not be allowed in unless his government takes responsibility. And we will observe their actions to determine our reactions. We have more than 400 years of diplomatic relationship. We don't want to lose it, but they have to realize that they have to show some respect, and they have to prove to us that they care about this relationship, because the way they acted is totally outrageous.
Would you say that Turkey's criticism and the words of President Erdogan is just playing straight into the hands of the far right in the Netherlands and across Europe?
Well, President Erdogan has no intention to interfere into the domestic politics of other countries, and he doesn't appreciate any other country playing and interfering into the domestic politics of his country. Unfortunately, many European countries, including Netherlands, do allow members of our opposition to go and campaign in their countries, but they're creating problems for members of the government party in Turkey when they want to conduct political campaigns. And that is directly interfering into our domestic politics. If the radical right in Netherlands is so sensitive that they might gain the government just based on the words of another country's president, that means the other countries are quite weak and poor in terms of carrying out their own messages to their own people.
Mr. Bagis, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks very much for joining us here on Impact.
Thank you.